Well, hello everybody and welcome back. Sorry I have not been live lately, Christmas and holidays and all that mess. And I will be not going live per se with the Wednesday card making soon because I will be at Creativation and I'm flying out on Wednesday. So I probably have a pre-recorded, or I might actually skip Wednesday because there's going to be a ton of videos coming in the following week. So I think I might take a break for 2 weeks. Okay, so what is going on here? Well, we're going to have some fun cards. I got this amazing die set. It's a stamp and die set from my my card swap group. We swap a whole bunch of cards, and if you're interested, I will remember to put a link into the information section at the information at this video. Sorry, I can't talk. So I got gifted this and it's been sitting in my stash for a little while. I'm like, it's winter now, and I just had to play with it. So take a look at this fun card. It is so much fun. We're going to play. I'm going to do kind of some reverse colors. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm also going to give you a suggestion that if you don't have this particular kind of a die set, how you could possibly do this half cut. I haven't personally tried it, but I think it'll possibly work. So you need something big enough is the bottom line. But I think this is a really, really super cute die set. So this one is coming from Crafter's Companion. It's not a new set at all. And they had a whole bunch of these. There was, I think, like 6 or 7 in the line, and they weren't all Christmas or winter. They had flowers. They had all kinds of cool stuff. Well, hi, Trisha. How you doing? Okay, so what do we need to do first? And first of all, even if you don't have this half die cut thing, could you still mimic the card with a full die cut piece? Yes, and I will kind of show you how to do that as well. So how do you create this cool card? It's a 2-fold because there's 2 folds to it. Basically, it's kind of like interlacing 2 cards together, one smaller than the other, to create that illusion. The measurements are down in the information section. And the main part of your card is you just need, and I am all kinds of crooked on this video. Hang on. There we go. That's better. So basically what you need to do is go ahead and get yourself 2 sheets of paper. This is the base of your card, and this is the insert of the card. This one's longer right now because we're going to be cutting off a portion of it. And this piece, if you notice, is not the full length of the card. So this is actually quite short, whereas actually this one is longer. A little bit of an illusion there. All right, so I'm going to use my cutting tool, my cutting board. Get my thingy here. So I'm going to use my cutting board here as my, and I had my measurements right in front of me, and of course they've gone, there it is. Okay, so we need to score, and again, measurements are down in the information section. The base of this card here is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and it makes an A2 size card. I do A2 size cards because it's what I use for my card swap. It just makes life easy. Okay, you are going to score this at 3 inches. And truly, it doesn't matter which way side you score the 3-inch mark, because if you end up scoring it the wrong way, you know what, you can always just flip your card around. No big deal. Or, however you want to do that. So super simple. All right, so that's the first score. So if you notice, this is the beginning of our card here. Just to give you, so this is this piece right here. And I am switching the colors. So I did a darker teal, and then I did a lighter teal on the top of that. So I did kind of flip-flop the colors here. All right, on my top card, on the top piece, so the white insert, and I chose to do white for a couple of reasons. You could really do any color you want, is because I wanted to have a nice clean something to stamp on and to color on, and it's a snowman, so of course it's white. So for this one, we are going to score at 5 inches. So again, if you don't score the correct side, flip it over. So at this point, it really doesn't matter which end you score at. And this is 3 3/4 by 9 1/2. And we're not using the entire 9 1/2, but it gives you a place to start because you're going to be cutting some of that stuff off. When I measured out the length of the white card, so if you were going to die cut a whole piece out and place it in, then this would be about 9. And so you still score at 5. So there you would have a 4-inch overlap right here. And this element would go in the middle. And if you don't have a stamp or a die that's this big, like as tall as this, then you could always do a circle right here. You could always do an oval right here. You could cut another square to go right here. So there's lots of options of what you could do for this space right here instead of this element that I have going on. So it's not completely unable to be used. All right, so fold this. Oops, I didn't score that. I didn't fold my scoring very well. Oops. All right, so just kind of put this part of the card off to the side because now we are going to be doing the stamping part. There we go. Okay, so I want to make sure that I have the correct side down. So the larger part So this is the part that you kind of need to pay attention to. The larger piece down here, which is the 5, is what you're putting down below, because this is the base of your card. And if you notice, I did want to have a little bit, if you just kind of take away this top part, just take a look at the white piece down here. It fits and mats really nicely on there, and it looks good when the card is kind of closed. So it works is the bottom line. That's what I want to go. So this is my bottom piece, and this is the part I'm stamping on. So I have my stamp in my MISTI right here. And I want to make sure I do not stamp onto the rest of my card. So I just kind of lay this in here. There we go. And here's another trick if you really want to do this. Oops, I just got muck in there because I didn't have a clean thingy. Oh, well. That's going to get pretty much covered up. Yeah, because we're going to put the mat in there, so it's no big deal. Or I can always just do this, and that side that gets stuck down. But now I'm going to clean that up because I don't want to get my stuff all dirty. I don't realize how dirty this edge is. There we go. Okay. It's always handy to have paper towels nearby, right? All right, so when you are stamping, yeah, the mucky side down now. So if you wanted to make this a full, and therefore it went all the way and you don't have this edge, you wouldn't have to have this lay over. It's no big deal. So that's kind of up to you. Depends on where you want to go with that. I think for that card, I did make it the same length. So if you wanted to make it 10 inches versus the 5.5, because this is going to be a little bit squishy kind of getting in here, but it'll work. So right about there. Now, if you're looking at my snowman, he's partly cut off, which is the same thing with he's going to get cut off. So I want to make sure I include the full hat. So I'm going to use the joy of having a MISTI. I want to make sure that I have, and I got to pull this over actually. So I want to go off to the edge. I want to have him right there, or her. It could be either. So right about there. So when I said 9 inches, I was measuring all the way to his little mitt right there. So just make sure you have that all the way there. And there you go. And then stick it in there. Make sure all my pieces, I'm just lining this up really well. I think this little head is actually a little off. Yeah, I want to make sure. The bottom part, I don't care if the bottom part gets kind of smashed off. And I'm doing a very crappy job because I got some ink on the edge of my, I didn't clean this after I used it last time, which is my fault. So I might have some smudgies here. It's okay. All right, so we're going to go right there. And again, we've got some boo-boos. We're going to end up covering some of that up, so it's all good. I just don't want to waste time and have you guys watch me cut more paper because I made, and that part's going to get stuck down. So you're just going to see a little bit of that, but you know what? We're going to also put some other layers on there. So I think we're good. So just come in, stamp this guy up, get in there. Oh, good. It did a good job. I didn't have to worry about redoing it. So there we go. And if you just wanted to come in and directly stamp it and not use your MISTI, totally cool too. I just like the fact that I can line it up really, really well. And so now this is the part, and we'll cover some of this up. I made a little bit of a boo-boo there. Before I die cut it out, I want to color it. So I use what I got. So in terms of colors, and this is a really, really fast coloring session here. So I use pretty much what I have on hand in terms of brands. I don't really necessarily am picky about one brand over the other. What I'm picky about is what colors I'm using, and they all really do work really well together. So here's my blending tool, and here we go. So I always do like one extra stamp off to the side, and that's where I do my practice before I do it for real. And I see what colors I want to have, and I play around with it. And if you notice from when I did my first one, I kind of changed some of the colors. So we're going to do that again. We're going to change up some of the coloration and change up what goes where. So I'm just double checking because I did this a little while ago. That's my lighter. I tried doing it. Yeah, that's not the one I want. That's the one I don't want. I tried doing it without coloring the actual snowman itself, and it looked really funny. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a very, very light gray, and these are Arteza blender markers, and I think they're awesome. Sorry, I feel like I got a froggy in my throat right now. Excuse me. There we go. It's that time of year here in Austin where I live, and cedar is just crazy. So all I've done is I've gone through, and everywhere that looks like these little like hash marks here, I've added, and this one is called clear water. So it's almost as close to white as you can get without being white. And this is the Solar White Neon paper. So it's pretty darn white. So I'm just adding a little bit of something right here, and then kind of on the side of the face, and then just right here. That's it. Just a little smudgeroonies. And then I'm coming in with my blender marker, and I'm just blending it. So I tried to color this without doing this part, and it looks so funny because everything else was colored, and you really can't see much of the white. It still looked really obvious that there was no color on it whatsoever. So if you notice, I'm just kind of hitting the edges again, right where I just did, just kind of blending those in. My marker's really making squeaky sounds right now. I'm going to do the whole face. I ended up doing the whole face because you really, really can tell that I've added marker to some and not to the other. And it looks so different. Yes, well, I'm just outside of Austin, but yeah, I'm in Austin. And so then I take and I come and bring my big marker, and I'll do the rest of it. You know, and so it makes it look like he's kind of a snowman. So that's my little trick to you, is that sometimes you can get away with leaving it white, but on this guy, it looks so funny, and it looked stark. It looked like contrasting. So now you've got a little bit of looks like snowman vibe going on here. So anyway, right now is like super crazy cedar time, and it's going everywhere, and everybody is just in. They showed a picture of the cedar trees, the juniper trees, and them releasing. I decided to go gray, kind of like a grayish color for the wood. Wood comes in lots of various colors. It doesn't have to be your typical brown. And I just like the look of it because the brown, there was no browns with anything that I was using on this. So I went with gray. And then I used the same gray also within the the scarf and stuff. So we're going to go through and we're going to do that. So we're going to highlight every three. I like the look of all three colors. So we're going to do that. I just went to every two, and that was an oopsie. So there'll be one oddball. It's okay. We'll survive. So I took a picture of all of the cedar / juniper trees spreading their seed across, like it was like a slow capture, and it looked like it was somebody, like smoke going across the trees. There was so much of it. 1, 2, there we go, 3. It was crazy. And so it gets in, like, it gives you a hard time to breathe. Everybody gets congested, like they have the flu. It's awesome time, let me tell you. All right, so now I'm also going to do, let's see, I don't like doing the gray of the wood with the gray on the mitt together, and I do like the lightness of the hands. I want to do this part. I did it light on the other two, so we're going to alter that. And I'm not doing any blending. I'm just doing straight coloring on all this. The only thing I kind of did a blend on was his body, or her body, or whatever. The snowman, its body. So just some straight coloring. And where I got my color inspiration for all this was actually from some of the pattern paper that we're going to be using. So if you notice, I was just using Arteza, but now I'm switching to a couple of Copics that I think are just awesome. And I don't remember, this is the darker one. So we're going to go with the little, we'll do this way. These little guys are going to be the darker colors. So you can have fun with the same color, and like with his hat and with his scarf, just change up what order you do it in. So it's the same card, it's just altered. And I think that's kind of fun. There we go. And then we'll do the bigger part of his mitt in the darker color. And then, oh, I got to do a scarf. So now I got to alternate some of the scarfiness. So what is the crazy? I mean, it's weird weather for us right now because we are 37 in the morning, and then by the time I pick up my kids from school, it's like 60 out. It's nuts. It is just the weirdest thing. Oh, cool. Where do you live, Crafty Kitty? Oops, that's the wrong side. So our plants don't have any clue what they're supposed to be doing right now. Half of our plants are blooming. Like I have a nectarine tree in my backyard, and it's already starting to push out flowers, and the bees are all over it. I seriously think all the animals and everybody's all messed up because they don't know what to do. Everything's all out of whack in terms of the weather, which, you know, nowhere near as bad as Australia. I'll tell you that. So we are, if I'm complaining about being 37 degrees and then 67 degrees, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just calling it kind of odd. but at least we do not have that. And my heart goes out to all those people that are being affected right now, because that is just bananas. And I hope everybody is safe. You're in San Antonio. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we are done there. See, really quickie. So this is a stamp, and this is kind of what I like doing snowman, because coloring is fast. It's like speedy coloring. All right, so in this particular die set, you're given a kind of an odd set of dies. You're given 2 pieces, so you can die cut out half. So we're actually going to die cut out this side right here. And if you notice, we're not going to do the full thing because we're cropping it. This is meant to go if you were going to have a full card. This actually, just to show you, it can fit the entire A2 size of a card. So it fits for an A2 size going this direction, which is pretty cool. So, but we're going to kind of chop off the bottom, which it's a snowman. No big deal. You don't have to finish the bottom. I think other ones would look kind of funny. So it's kind of whatever you want. How would you do this with your own die? Well, there's one way, which would kind of ruin your die, kind of, but not, depending on if it's a die that you really are into. So if you notice the way that, let me just finish pushing this down here, taping this down. Notice what they basically took the die and they snipped it. They snipped it in half right here and right here. So they just kind of snipped it. So you could totally take a die, snip it, and just like this one, you would put it back together again. So you could make your own 2-part die. Just cut it, right? Well, if you're like, I do not want to cut my dies, that ain't going to happen. No big, forget that mess. Well, then what you could do is you could line it up, and then you just run it through your paper trimmer or your die cut machine part way, just part of the way, but not all of the way, and then roll it back out. So just halfway roll it and halfway roll it out, and it'll still give you that cut. So you could do it on this side of the card, but you could also stamp, and let's say I wanted to have it the reverse and I want to have it over here. You could take this side and die cut on the other side, which is what they show in the picture here. So it really does work both ways. So there you go. So 2 options if you wanted to do this half die cut. Either cut the die, or 3 options. 1, get dies that are already cut like this. 2, cut your die, or 3, just run it halfway through. It works, I think. I haven't tried the halfway through yet, truthfully, but I can't imagine why it wouldn't. You would just kind of need to know pretty much where your die would be. So it would be right halfway. So there we go. Pop this little guy in here. So if you're going to run it halfway, it would be one of those like, okay, line it up. We're going to go to there. Okay. And then roll it back out again. Something like that. So it gives you that half die cut illusion. And then to die cut this whole entire thing, which we're going to do right now, because I want to show you how you can do this card if you don't want to do a half die cut. So I'm going to fully cut this guy out. Or girl, this thing, this snowman. I want my other piece. There it is. Grab my other. So since we are here and I have all my machines out, we are machine. We're going to do this. There we go. And let's cut this guy out. I just think this is kind of a cool system. And it's one that you could potentially do yourself too, if you wanted to die cut. Like what if you had 2 of the same dies? I think that could work. All right, let's get this mess out of here. So I hope everybody had an amazing, amazing holiday. We had a pretty good one. Let's see, what's cool stuff happened to us? Well, we surprised our kids, and they are getting a dog. So hopefully when I do my lives, we are not going to have some craziness of barking happening in the background. So we'll see. It might be you're going to go have a nap now. So we'll have to figure that live scenario out. I didn't line this up exactly perfectly, so you just kind of come in and snip it. So, and then you can come in and you can do a little trimmeroonie here and just kind of make it even. And that's how that whole piece die cuts out. And then I'm putting these back on my magnetic sheet so I don't lose them. So very cool. All right, I don't want to cover up that mess either. All right, so here is the half part cut, and here is the full part cut. Cute. Well, hello, Shirley. So who's on? We got Crafty Kitty, Trisha, and Shirley. Anybody else on? Say hi. Hello, hello. Okay, so now what do we do? Now that we got this, and excuse the messy. This part goes really fast once you have it. So now you've got this, and I didn't realize how crappy my blade was, and I did one cut and then I changed it. So most of the other cuts are doing pretty good now. All right, so then all you have to do is start sticking everything down. So backside, stick down. So let's see, the kids are getting a dog, and it was kind of cute. I did it really kind of cute. I did it in 2 different ways. We also got Disney Plus, and so the kids were all watching all their Disney shows over Christmas, which was very nice. We watched The Mandalorian, and we had some fun doing some other shows and stuff. And then, so how I announced it, this was kind of cute. I'm just so you guys have an idea. I picked up 2 very similar tones of kind of like teal colored paper from my craft stash, but there's lots of beautiful cardstocks out there. Lawn Fawn makes great ones. Basil makes great ones. American Crafts, you name it. There's a ton of different companies that have wonderful papers. And so I picked 2 different colors. And in the first card, I picked a darker color to go on the outside of the card. For this one, I did the lighter color. So I'm just reversing and keeping, very, very simple colors, and then just pulling in the gray, which also matches with the silver. So very simplistic, just my favorite colors personally. I love the look of teal and gray, and I always tend to gravitate it toward it. And kind of pulled it from the paper that I was inspired by, which was from Adorn It. So this was a fun little piece. And it was also the insert piece that this came from. And then we're going to stamp for the other one. So that's where the color story kind of came from. So sometimes, how do you pick the colors that go on your stamps when you're coloring them? Maybe find the papers, the colors of the papers that you like, and then from that, you match the colors versus the other way around. Because usually you're going to have more markers than you are tones of paper. So it's easier to go, I think, with what you have the least of. So paper, cardstock, whatever, the embellishment, then trying to color it and then match going the other direction. So go with the least item you have. So what I did, sorry, sidetrack on that. What I did for the kids is we have 3 kids, and I went through and I wrapped in a giant box. Like I saved all these Amazon boxes I had, massive box, and I printed off. One box had the giant letter D, one box had a giant letter O, and one box had a giant letter G. And I didn't specify. I kind of stuffed some of the boxes in the back, and each kid had their own box. And so they would open it up, and they're like, oh. And they're like, okay. And then I was like, just wait, maybe more will be revealed. It's a puzzle. You got to solve the puzzle. And then another kid opened up a G. And so they had OG. And then finally the last one, my oldest, he just turned 14 actually. And he went through and he's like, it spells a word, it spells a word. And the first they're like, God, I'm like, try again. And then all but like 3 milliseconds later, dog, getting a dog. And then I also wrapped up some dog bones and like some doggy treats and some like little things like that. So they had a blast with that stuff. So what kind of dog? The mother is a German Shepherd, and the father is part lab, part golden retriever. So I think they're called a golden shepherdor, something like that. It's a friend whose daughter's in college, and he thought she had fixed the dog and had spayed the dog, the girl, the German Shepherd. She did not. And the girl was living at home, and they were puppy sitting or dog sitting his son's dog, which was the father, which was the golden Labrador, which they knew was not fixed, but they thought the mother was, because obviously you can tell a boy's fixed and girls it's a little bit harder for dogs. And so we're just layering up. This piece right here came from another element that came from the Adorn It paper stack, and that's all listed down below. It's this cute snowman set. I have it buried. There we go. It's this cute snowman. So I just grabbed that centerpiece right there because that was where my color story kind of came from, and then mimicking some of the other snowmen on here. So I really just kind of copied it and pulled it out. Well, apparently, she didn't fix the dog. And lo and behold, the dog had puppies. And so it was one of those, he doesn't know it's a friend, it's a person my husband works with. And he's like, I have all these dogs. I don't know what to do with these dogs. There were 7 in the litter. It was crazy business. So he's like, who wants a dog? My husband piped up and said, we will. So it was kind of a fun little thing. I am taking these cutesy little strippy things here. I love these. These are great. I get these from a company that's based out, it's called European Paper Crafters. They bring in all these elements that are from Europe. And these little sticky peely things are huge in the UK. And they come in all different colors. You name it, they have all the colors of the rainbow that you can possibly think of. Strips, they come in wiggly strips, straight strips, and sometimes the strips are different. I just think it adds this little kind of fun element to it. So it's just cool. And then I felt like it needed something on the other side because this side looks so plain. So we're going to add, and we're going to go a little closer to the edge to try and cover up my oopsie. And so one strip works just fine. You know what, it's just going to be an oopsie. I don't have a better way to do that. I love my actually, you know what? There is two sides of paper. One's got a little bit of texture, so we're going to go with the texture on this. I love my paper trimmer or my Xyron tape runner. I'm liking the smallness of these little pieces that are in this card. Works great. So yeah, you just peel it off. And this one I decided instead of going on the side of the element to go on the inside so it didn't look so plain, and I just kept it as two. So if you want to think of it, you've got kind of like 1, 2, 3 elements, but if you broke it up, it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it still keeps within that odd number that you have going on in your card. So I'm just trimming it off, doing my best to kind of show. Maybe I can get some white out or something. There's no way that ink is coming off. I mean, that's a permanent ink. So, little flying pieces. So anyway, the kids are getting a dog. It was only, let's see, how old is the dog? The dog, I think, is about 5 weeks right now. We get the dog at the end of the month. So old enough to be weaned from mommy. So I think he was born December 5th or something. So yeah, we're getting him after I get back from Creativation. I was like, I am not getting a new puppy before I leave for the show, even though he's been born. It's a boy. We're still debating names, and it is the biggest contention in the house because before we had kids, my husband and I, we were the only ones who figured out the names for our pets. Now we have kids, they have to weigh in on this. Which is cute and it's hilarious, but nobody can agree on anything. Oh my gosh. We want to name it this. We want to name it that. No, that name sucks. So this is awesome. Okay, so what if you do not have this die set that you don't want to do the half die, you don't want to roll it halfway through, you don't want to cut your die, or whatever. So you have a full image that you want to place on there, or an oval with a stamp in the middle, or a square, or a circle. So you can take that, just pop this. So make your card like it normally would, pretend this is not here, and just have it go to the 9 inches, and then place your image right on top and just stick it down. And pretend this was a little bit smaller because I would normally not have this one be, or you could have it be that big, however you want. You want to have it kind of go over, and then just stick that down, and then that becomes that front flappy piece. You could also add some more information here because some of that gets covered up. It's kind of up to you how you want to place that. And I did that. Oh, it looks like a little bit crooked. Can't tell. All right, inside stamp. Oh, I forgot to get the link for the stamp. So this is a stamp set that has come from Simon Says Stamp. I got this a little while ago. It's super cute. And it's all really wintry kind of. I was debating, do I want to put a snowman on the inside because it's nice and small and it looks similar. It's kind of the same vibe. And I was like, no, because I got these snowmans here. Snowmen, snow people, whatever. So I just went with, on this card, there was this really pretty sentiment, come on in and we're having a ball. And I did pull out a couple other ones that were from the same paper pack from Adorn It. This one says Snowball Fight, which is pretty cute. And this one says Snowflakes Falling. But I thought, nah, it doesn't really have like a meaning behind it. Whereas this one says Winter Hugs. I thought this was pretty cute. So we're going to go with that one. So Winter Hugs it is. I'm just going to stamp this with my stamp block. Hopefully it's going to be good. There we go. If not, I would have turned it over and done another one. That's easy enough. And then pop this back in here. There's a couple of snowflakes that are in here. So I'm going to pull out the snowflakes. And I debated at first, do I want to do them together? I was like, no, I don't want to stamp all 3 things because inevitably I'm going to screw one up and they're not going to be good. So I'm just going to take, let's go reverse. And then one to make it, I think it's, I don't know, we'll see. Let's go here. Nope, maybe one on top. There we go. Easy. Watching from the UK. Woohoo! So I've got Jean on, Shirley's on. Hi, everybody. Clean this up. And then just stick this down the center. So you can do a really simple center as a stamped image. Blend your stamps together. You know, there's nothing to say that you have to be like, okay, I only can use this one stamp set. No, pull the sentiment off of one, some images off of one, get something from another one, and then boom, there you go. So look how cute, little two-fold cards. Love them. The more you kind of play with them, and if you put them in an envelope, the more they're going to settle down and get a little bit not so poppy outish. The other thing you can do is that when you start folding your cards from the very beginning, back fold them a little bit and get the hinges, what I would call hinges, going. Do this one before you stick it down, because right now you're not going to be able to go the other direction. And then everything will start kind of laying a little bit flatter the more you kind of mess with the opening here. The other option is put it in an envelope. Last option, kind of flip them over and let gravity do its job. You could even put something a little heavier on top of them, and it'll help those cards really kind of start laying flat over time. So it won't do this poppy up thing. My other trick is I will take a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of adhesive and just kind of help it for a little while. And the adhesive, because there's hardly any there, will just go away after a while. And you can always just rub it off if you don't want to have it there. It just removes if you don't have it there for too long. So might leave a tiny bit of a smudge. Depends on how picky you are, but there you go. Super cute cards. And also just a really cute little guy that you could make another version of this card by popping it on to there. Don't you love it? I got all my crap in the way. I'm sorry. Oh, there's a paper that fell on the ground. So thanks so much for stopping by. I'm going to be taking a break for the next 2 Wednesdays because I fly out on Wednesday and I fly home on Tuesday because I'm going to Creativation. So if you have a company that you want me to go check out, not every company is there. I will tell you that right now. There are some companies that have chosen not to come, or they just, like for instance, Crafters Companion, I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be there or not. But I will do my best to get to as many companies as possible. I'm also going to be going to a few classes. So I will be learning some more fun techniques. I'm going to be going to a class from, who am I going to? I'm going to a lawn fawn class for sure. I'm helping teaching a class. That's another fun one. So I'll be bringing back, I'm assisting. So I'll have some fun stuff to show you from that. And then I am also doing a class with Ranger. So I'll have some fun things to bring back and share with you guys on that. So Wendy Vichy is the Ranger instructor for that one. And then obviously I will be doing a ton of live videos before the show starts. The show is on next Thursday, and Friday is the pre-show. That's when I'm doing classes. Most companies are not happy with me filming inside the classroom. So probably won't be doing that unless they're okay with it. I might be able to do, but sometimes the classrooms, I may not be able to do live. I might have to do some pre-recorded and then come home and then edit and then put it up for you guys. On the showroom floor, I will be definitely doing some stuff. If I can get on the showroom, I'm not setting up, actually, I might be setting up a booth this year, helping out. So I'll be doing some before the show starts, walking around like I did the past few years, kind of seeing some fun stuff on the showroom floor. And then also as the show is going on, the show is open on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so I will be doing a minimum, let me tell you, 2 live shows per day, probably 3. It depends on the internet service. There is a section of the showroom floor, because we've had the same place for the past 3 years, that internet service is awful. So I will do recorded videos there, bring them home and upload them. And so there will still be more videos to go after I get back from the show, because I'll be editing and putting them up as the days go along. But yeah, lots of cool stuff to come. So if you have any suggestions for places you want me to go try and get video content from, and what their latest and greatest and demos and the whole thing, leave a comment. That's the best way for me to get all that information to you, because it's cool stuff. And then I will be bringing home and obviously making more things on my channel with the content that I have found at the show. All the new things, the new supplies, new tools, lots of cool launches are coming out. And so I'll be showing you all the cool stuff as I get them too. Yay. So I hope everybody had an amazing holiday winter break, and I will be seeing you guys live at the show. Bye, everybody.